The world won't understand you. Hey, but it's okay. Said the world won't understand you, 'cause I made you in my own way. Said the world won't understand you.
Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to episode 23 of the world famous In a Good Way podcast. Just kidding, not yet, but we'll get there. So today my special guest is Alejandra Damian. So I've known Alejandra for many years, but I really had no clue that, she had any kind of connection spiritually, right? Which is funny because even when I started the podcast, that was one of the main things is like, I knew so many people that had these spiritual gifts that, just weren't coming out with it, right? Like even for me that I had known for years, like you're not the only one, right? That I knew for years.
Yeah.
And then until later, like, I find out that you have spiritual gifts just like, other people that I know. So, I definitely want to start at the beginning, of when you first noticed this. But one thing too is like you said, like, when we talked, when you first told me about the spiritual gifts, was like you've even seen or had premonitions before someone passes away, right? So that's one of.
So when it started, I was really little. I would get dreams. It started where I would get dreams that my dad was getting killed by the same man. It was 4 different dreams, 4 different times. And one of the dreams, the guy finds us at my Nino's pool and covers my dad with a tarp and he drowns. And the guy's always wearing a trench coat.
But that didn't really happen, right?
Oh, hold on.
Oh,
so
okay.
This dream didn't happen. The second dream, my dad gets run over by the guy. The third dream, the guy comes, we're in a mall and the guy comes in and he's looking for my dad and he kills him. The last dream, we were in our house where we were growing up. This guy comes to our gate and we had a white picket fence. He looks, I'm standing there, I'm looking at the guy. He comes to the door, he asks for my dad. My dad comes to the door and my dad goes outside and the guy shoots him.
Oh, wow.
Okay. That was 4 different dreams. Okay.
And how old were you?
Same trench coat. I want to say like 14, 15.
Okay.
And one night and it was at night, the last dream. So we were at home and I was standing by the door and a guy starts walking with a trench coat I can see him from the neighbor's house coming towards our door. And he stops at our gate and I remember my dream. So my dad's like, ¿Quién es? Like, who is it? I remember and I closed the door. I grabbed my dad and I took him to the back of the house and I told him that's the guy from my dream. Like I remember and I started crying and like the guy, my mom said that the guy freaked out and he left.
Oh,
I never
wow.
had any dreams. I never had a dream like that again of my dad. But when I was little, I would have dreams and they were like, not warnings. They would be like my loved ones that had passed. They would tell me things. I was 14, 15 and my grandma passed away. My mom, we got a call in the middle of the night. My mom, my dad were like, we're going to go see your grandma. She's in the hospital. My mom was telling me this and I thought it was my mom's mom. And it was actually my dad's mom. So I went to sleep and I'm asleep and they left me with my brothers to watch them. And, they were at the hospital. As I'm asleep, I'm dreaming and my grandma and I are in a funeral parlor and we're picking out the coffin and it's a gray coffin and we're picking out her outfit and it's a pink outfit. And I was like, why are we doing this? I don't understand. She's like, mija, yo estoy muerta, in Spanish, I'm dead. And I was like, what? My phone rings at home and I wake up. My mom's mom calls me. She's like, ¿Qué estás haciendo? ¿Cómo te sientes? And I was like, fine. Like, she asked me, what are you doing? How are you? And I was like, I'm fine. Why? Se murió tu abuela. Like cold hearted, like, because I grew up with her, my grandma, my dad's mom, and she was really close to me. She was like my mom. She taught me a lot of stuff. And I feel like it was my dad's mom that passed came to warn me and like soften the blow to tell me like, I'm gone, because she knew or felt that my grandma was going to call. But prior to my grandma dying, 2 days prior to her dying, she called us. And I was a teenager. I never got off the phone, not for anybody. And she called and something told me, give the phone to your dad. So I was like, I got off the phone and she's like, mija, cuando yo me muera, cuida tu papá. And I was like, of course. Like, you know, she's telling me, like, take care of your dad when I pass. And I was like, of course. And she's like, and I love you and take care. And it's like, she did all this. 2 days later, I don't know if she felt that she was going to leave or what, but she kind of called everybody and said bye to everybody.
Wow.
And that was, I think that was like the first 2 times. I never paid attention when I was little, but I would dream a lot when I was little, and I could remember my dreams, and I was able to control myself for my dreams. And I taught myself how to wake up when I'm having a bad dream. I pinch myself, and if it doesn't hurt, then I know I'm dreaming.
Oh.
And since little, I can always remember my dreams, and my dreams were like that, like a little warning, or like a little like I don't know if you want to say premonition, but something that was going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, like a premonition, like something that was going to happen, not exactly in that way, but similar to like, or soften the blow. There was also a time when we were little and we lived in the same house where I had the dream with my dad and everything. And
let me ask you real quick. So did you have the dream, the thing with your dad, did that happen before your grandma passed or after?
That was before my grandma passed.
Oh, okay.
Before my grandma passed.
Did you ever tell her about it? Because just I'm saying, like, the way she told you to make sure you take care of your dad and everything. Did you ever talk to her about it or no?
No,
Oh.
no. My dad and I are very spiritual and like connected, and we believe in like auras and like energy and like the earth and, you know, positiveness and stuff like that. And he always taught me that if you have a bad dream, you have to tell someone so it won't come true. You know, and the good ones you keep to yourself. But like, so they come true. But he always like had me investigate what my dreams mean. Like certain things mean certain stuff. Like, and I've always believed in that, and I always felt like a connection. And as I grew up, my mom and I would mess around and be like, "Oh, we're witches, somos brujas, ha ha ha," right? But we knew we had the ability to think of someone, or her and I have a conversation about someone, and then later on that person calls us or finds us, or they reach out to us. And one time when I had just gotten married to my husband, may he rest in peace, and it was 9/11, we couldn't find him. They weren't calling us and anything. So we put our hands together and we like were thinking about him, and we were next to the window and like, you know, we thought about it. And the phone rang and I picked up the phone. I was like, Anthony? And he's like, how'd you know it was me? And I was like, I knew it was you. You know? So my mom and I have always been able to do stuff like that. You know, the less I smoke weed, the more connected I am to that stuff, like the positive and the energy and stuff like that. It's just always been like that. Like this.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought and then I'll ask something.
Like, I've always felt like I can tell how people are feeling with just being around them. If it makes sense.
How am I feeling right now?
Curious.
No, I'm not that. Well, yeah, I get. But obviously I'm making. But I'm just playing with you. Okay, so let me ask you something. Since you brought it up about the weed thing, because I know that, but I don't want to. I never like to impose anything on anyone so they don't feel uncomfortable or something. But I've always observed that, right? Like it's obvious to me. Like if you're smoking weed, what do you call it? It like, you know, it less, like you're less connected, right? And
yes.
Yeah, and see, you just said that right now, so it's good. See, I never really even asked anyone that, but I already hear people saying that, but yet they'll keep smoking weed, and then when they're not connected, like they're surprised. Well, oh, I don't feel connected. I don't have, because I'll tell them, oh, I have dreams, and they'll be like, oh, I don't have dreams, but I know they smoke weed like every day, so it's like, but so to you acknowledge that, like you can see the difference.
I started smoking weed when I was 14, and the weed wasn't like it is now. Now it tastes like more chemicals. There's less taste of the natural flavors. So I believe that it's that's affecting it. because when I was younger and I would smoke, like it was a big difference. Of course, tolerance and whatnot, and I took a tolerance break, but it's still not the same thing from back then to what it is now. You know.
Yeah. No, and
but
go ahead, finish.
But on hallucinogens, carefully, then I can feel other things, and like my mind opens up and I can feel a little more.
Yeah. No, see, I had someone admit to me behind, like, you know, I can't go and, you know, just whatever, because, but I asked someone that was working for people that do the weed, and I was saying how, you know, so much of the stuff has chemicals now, and then they were reluctant, but then they admitted, yeah, well, because they worked for a place that's supposed to be all natural, and then they admitted to me, yeah, they do use some kind of pesticides, and I was like, damn, how could, like, so, see, it's all BS, right? Like, not I'm sure there are places out there that are natural, but even that, imagine, there's people that lie with no conscience. They'll sell it to you as natural, and they'll still have pesticides, so you got to be careful. And I agree with you 100%. I do feel like, yeah, 100%. Like, weed was obviously way more natural before. And you know, I'll even share this. I won't say who it was or nothing, but, you know, I know these, like, I just know, you know. And so I had a friend the same. They were like, oh, I feel really disconnected. And it was, you know, a female friend. And I don't know why. Something told me, like, so I asked, I'm like, are you watching pornos? And she was like, you know what? She's all, I'm gonna be honest with you. She's like, yeah. She's like, I gotta whatever the female equivalent of rubbing one out is. Like, she, you know, she admitted, and I was like, well, there it is. I was like, that's gonna disconnect you. You know, something I just knew.
Yeah.
You know, I just knew. Like, I guess
being on the phone a lot, watching TV, the electronic waves and everything that disconnects you from females, most importantly, have to go out and be in dirt and be with nature to be connected a little more.
Oh, well, same here. Like, when I go to the mountains, guaranteed. Like, when I'm disconnected, I go on a hike, boom, like everything. Like, even yesterday, I went to the mountains. Dude, it was like spiritual, like, times, you know, 100. All the things. There was even the rainbow, you know, out here, like, it's not raining. And at the end of everything, I was seeing everything. And then there was a rainbow, like my final little, like, boom. I was like, wow, like that. And, you know, with no rain or nothing, right? I know it's because in California, we probably have all the, like, you know, pollution that makes the rain. But still, I got a rainbow, like, early in the morning, and there was no rain, no nothing. You know what I mean? So I was just getting tons of signs of being in nature, you know. But go ahead, like what you were saying.
No, we just have to, at least for women, I've read and I've seen that if we go out and plant and play in the dirt and, like, get in more contact with nature, you get more grounded and you're more in tune with your natural abilities.
So do you plant stuff and everything, or?
Yeah, we have a garden.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah. When women have cramps, they go to Midol and stuff like that. If they take mint leaves and just eat them, that takes away the cramps too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like, all the way, or?
Yeah, all the way.
Oh, wow. Because I know women have different levels, right, of the cramps.
Yeah, but no, I'll take natural stuff rather than take anything else. Teas, homemade remedies. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
There was something else you had said. Oh, so real quick to go back a little. So with your dad, you guys never figured out what this guy was trying to do or why? They never showed you in the dream the specifics, like what was his deal with your dad?
No, he just wanted to kill my dad.
Oh, why?
He wanted to kill my dad.
Your dad?
He never.
Like, I met him. Like, he's not involved. Like, in
no,
nothing.
he's a chill guy. He doesn't like confrontations. Like, he gets upset really fast, but he's not a confrontational kind of guy where I've never had a guy scene where a guy gets mad at him or anything like that, you know. And some guys are just assholes, and my dad's very friendly and they'll just ignore my dad. But besides that, no.
That's interesting. No. And I know it's probably like a touchy subject, but I mean, if you don't mind, like how you said, like your husband passed away. So if you don't mind saying that story, if you do, it's fine. You don't have to.
No, that's fine.
You were
I
getting
think
signed.
that's the one. I think that's the one that kind of like was like a big hit in the face. Like, open your eyes. Yes, you have this, sense. You can see things, So I'm getting a call. Can I get that real quick? It's my son's school.
Oh, okay.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, yeah. So like yeah, go ahead. Tell me about like what happened when your husband passed away.
Well, first I have to kind of like introduce him a little bit because him and our paths have crossed since we were little.
Okay.
Okay, so in elementary, his best friend was my cousin.
Mm.
And I don't remember him, but he remembers me. And the way he remembers me is because his best friend had a girl cousin that was a tomboy that used to take the G.I. Joes apart and put them back together with different arms. And I was like, and I was like, yeah, that's me. And he's like, Julio? I was like, yeah, that's my cousin.
Oh,
After
that
we
was
got,
you. You were the
that was
tomboy.
me. Yeah, right. And that was then. We lived in the projects when we were little before he had met my cousin. We just didn't know each other, but his mom knew my grandma, that one that passed. Okay. And we went to junior high, and I thought he was the most gorgeous thing on earth. And I always thought I had a crush on him, but he's the only guy that ever intimidated me, where I was like, no, I can't. No, I can't get him. So I never approached him, but we would always refer to him as my Anthony. And he knew who I was and I knew who he was, but we never like interacted. But our cliques or our little people we hung around with, we always bumped into each other, right? And in elementary, no, that was in preschool. We went to the same preschool, and I chased him there too. And his mom remembers me too. And so we graduated. He went to the Marines, and he had a girlfriend. She cheated on him, so I swooped in, right? And we talked to each other on the phone and everything. And when he was in Camp Pendleton, and we talked on the phone, I knew when he would call me. I knew when he was going to call me. Like, I would get phone calls, and it never said numbers, or I don't know if he had a call ID. I don't remember, but I know when he would call me. Like I always had a feeling, and I knew. And when we finally got married, it was like we were in tune with each other, and we talked and we got along, and it was fine. And when he 2 weeks before he passed, there was a show called Death Becomes Me. And it's about this girl that dies and she becomes death, and she goes and picks up souls. That show was very interesting to me. And I saw the first episode, which was a week before he died. My grandma that had passed and my cousin that passed away a month before my husband did came to me in a dream. Now, I had just had a baby, not just, but he was like 10, 11 months. Oh. And my cousin and my grandma came to me in my dream, and they're like, we're going to come and take Anthony away from you. And I was like, oh, my grandma was standing here, my cousin was standing here, and a guy in a black like cloak was in the middle. And they're like, we're going to come and take Anthony from you. And I was like, why? Like, I don't understand why. And they're like, we just have to. He has to, that was it. That was,
who was your cousin? She had passed, he or she?
No, a boy, Danny.
Oh, and he had passed away too?
A month before, and he drowned because he had a cramp.
Wow. And you had dreamed that too, or no?
I didn't dream of him dying, but like a month after Danny died, Anthony and I were at home, and like we put the baby to sleep, and we were just watching movies and eating, but we had like a picnic, and it was like it was something we never did. It was like unexpected, but we knew we had to do it. I don't know why, we had a feeling. We just had to spend time together, and we didn't argue and we didn't fight or anything. And he told me what coffin he wanted when he died, the keepsakes, like the little things that people take home, what he wanted. He told me that he wanted me to be happy, and he wanted me to be married. And I cried, and I told him, don't talk like that. And then he told me, I think he had a motorcycle, and he would tell me, I think if I get in a motorcycle accident, I'm not going to survive. And I was like, why are you saying that? He's like, it's just the momentum of when I stop and I go forward, like, I'm not going to make it. Like he
He
knew,
just
he
told you
felt.
that just randomly?
Yeah, yeah. Not randomly. We were talking about my cousin and like things that were happening and what he wanted. He never wanted to be older than 35. He didn't want to be an old man. Like everything he accomplished that he did, that he wanted to do, he did everything he wanted to do, you know. But he let me know everything he wanted and how he felt, and like, you know, that was it. And he had to go do guard duty at Camp Pendleton, and I had a feeling like, don't go, take him, or tell him to skip it or say he can't go. And he went, and we didn't argue, and we talked, and it was
You
fine.
told
And the
him
last time,
did you tell him you were having that feeling?
I told him I didn't want him to go, that if I could take him, I could take him. And he's like, why? And I didn't think anything about the motorcycle. When I had that dream about my grandma and my cousin coming to me and warning me that they were going to take Anthony from me, I honestly thought, and that's why I mentioned I had just had a baby, that they were talking about baby Anthony.
Oh, wow.
I was a new mom. I would have dreams when I was pregnant that I would put my son on the top of my car and I drove off, you know.
Oh,
Like
wow.
I was a new mom. I was scared. I thought I was going to break him and lose him, you know. So I thought that they were talking about that Anthony. I never once thought big Anthony, my husband.
Wow.
So the day that he died was an emotional roller coaster because I felt so many things. Mind you, I was breastfeeding, no drugs, in tune, eating healthy, cooking myself. Like, I went to sleep, I woke up, and my son slept with me. We were at my mom's house because it was the day before 4th of July. I mean, it was the day after 4th of July because he died on the 5th of July.
Oh, wow.
And we were at my mom's house, and I was in my old room, and we were on the floor sleeping. And whenever my son found pennies on the floor, automatically he put them in his mouth, unless his dad would tell him, take it to your mom. I was asleep, and my son comes to me and gives me the penny.
Oh, wow.
And by that time he was saying mom, and he would talk and repeat stuff. He's like, mom, mom. And he gave it to me, and I just woke up and I looked around and I was like, it was weird. That was my first, like, okay, open your eyes. Then I got up, and as the day went by, I kept looking outside, and every time I would look outside, I pictured an ambulance, a body on the floor, and a white sheet over it. Okay. And I called Camp Pendleton, and they're like, oh, he left already. But it was already 9 or 10. He wasn't home.
Oh, wow.
His brother was supposed to go to a concert, and he said he might go to the concert, but he never told me. 12 o'clock hit. I'm looking out the window like a crazy person because it's just like
12 midnight?
I'm expecting. No, 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, okay.
Because as the morning went by, and I'm looking for him and I can't find him. I call his brother and I was like, did he go to the concert with you? No. I was praying and hoping he was cheating on me, that he went out with some girl. I was having so many emotional things and emotional feelings and going through so many things because I was feeling so many things just coming at me. And I believe that it was him trying to, like, I felt his energy. When my son gave me the penny, I felt his energy. When it was time for me to go home, I was driving and some guy looked at me and like waved at me, and I was like, and I kind of looked away and I was like, oh my God, Anthony just saw that. Like, I felt it, you know? And I looked away like, wait, did I didn't flirt? No, I didn't look. The guy looked at me and I just drove off. And every time a big intersection would come as I'm driving home, because I was in Riverside, Rubidoux, and I lived in Fontana. And every time I would see a major street, I would turn and I was waiting to see an ambulance and a body on the floor in a white, like I knew he was gone.
But no one had told you yet.
I didn't feel him here anymore. I didn't feel his energy. I felt him here, just not here. Does it make sense?
Yeah, of course.
And I got home and I was sitting down, I was watching TV, and I just looked at all the stuff that we had. And I was like, I'm going to have to put everything in storage and go to my mom's and live. Like, I was already processing certain things and feeling certain things because my emotions were just so strong, you know? And it was just weird. So hold on. My earpiece is dying.
Oh,
So as the day is going by and he's not coming home and nobody's contacting me, and so I'll just where's he at? Do you know where he's at? He's like, no, I haven't heard from him. His cell phone, he wasn't answering his cell phone. It was just too many things. So I ran back home to my mom's house. And when I got to my mom's house, it was like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. My mom's like, you know, he hasn't called and no, and I don't know where he's at. And at this point, I'm please be with another girl or something, you know? And I just couldn't find him. There was no way. So finally, Camp Pendleton didn't have his actual address and phone number on record. He had changed it and got new numbers. So they couldn't find where his actual address and home was to have the Red Cross come and tell me what was going on. Wow. So when they finally called my mom's house and they looked for me, they're like, this is so and so, so and so, and there was an accident. And they're like, where are you at? And I was like, I'm at my mom's house. They're like, where's that at? We don't have an actual like place where he lives. We don't know where he's at, because we were living in one city, then we went to another city, and then went in the matter of like months. Oh wow. And I was being a bitch and I didn't want to tell them where I was at until they gave me more information. So they're like, well, there was an accident. I was like, well, tell me where he's at so I can go and see him, like, so I can go and see where he's at, how he's doing it. They're like, well, where are you at? And I was like, I'm not gonna tell you shit until you tell me what the fuck is going on, you know? And they're like, well, we really can't. And they kind of got in trouble because they told me over the phone, and they're like, ma'am, like, there's no, I can't remember how they told me, but he didn't survive or he didn't make it. He's not at the hospital. He didn't make it. Wow. And they told me on the phone. Wow. And when they finally told me over the phone, like, I screamed. I ran to my mom. I told her what they said. She was in the shower with my son. And then my dad comes and I went to the bathroom. I don't know how I picked up the toilet and I broke it. Holy. And it cracked. And I think I was just more mad because I didn't accept my feelings and I didn't acknowledge what was going on, because I knew he was gone. Like, I knew. I felt it. I had never felt such a disconnection, but a gut feeling. You know what I mean? Yeah. Damn. That's crazy. I can't hear her. Oh, you can? I think I have to put you on speaker. Oh. Can you hear me now? Yeah, I mean, I've been able to hear you. You want to try that? It's just when you were trying to connect the headphones, it was breaking up. But maybe if you take a little time, like, I don't know, you want to stop and do it real quick, or? I mean, the earpiece. Because it died. Oh, right there. I mean, I could. There it goes. Okay. There it goes. That one's good then? Yeah, that's good. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's yeah, I don't even know what to say. You know, so after, let's go with that, you know, after, like, I know you told me before, like, your son would be, you know, playing or talk to him or pointing at him or something like that, right? Like your son was, it seemed like he could still see him, right? It's I don't know if he could see him or sense him, but my son and my dad are very adventurous, and my dad is clumsy. My son has fallen from like 11 feet high down into water and survived. He's fallen from a tree or just hanging from a tree with one hand and is hanging there until someone can pick him up, like get him. He's cracked his head open and has stitches, and it seems like my son has an angel watching over him. And I believe it's his dad, because my son, the latest thing that's happened to him, he had a job for AAA and he was driving in the car, malfunction. He pulled over, the car was smoking. he rationally, calmly took everything that he could out of the car because it was starting to catch on fire, but there was batteries and
Oh wow.
Everything. If he wouldn't have pulled over, the car would have started catching on fire with him in it and everything. So a lot of accidents have happened to my son, but he's had like a good luck with his accidents. Like he has a guardian angel watching over him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it sounds like me.
Right?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, that's
he
crazy.
has some crazy, he has bad luck with good luck covering it to cover the bad stuff that happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
But when you would notice like going back to when he was little, because I remember you told me before, like he would, like, I think you told me once that he was standing in the corner of a room and it's like if he was talking to his dad or stuff like that.
Yes, he would go into our old apartment and he would talk into like the corner where the closet was, not the actual closet, but the room where the corner of the closet was. He would go and talk to the corner and then he would go away as he was really little because he talked a lot. At 5 months, my son was like, mom, mom, mom. At like 8, 9 months, he was talking and saying big words like Alighieri, which is my brother's name. He learned to walk at 10 months. When his dad died, he completely stopped talking and like completely. So when he would talk in the corners, it was just like surprising to us. But when I also, after he passed and my son was 5, I had twin daughters. And when their dad came over and he was asleep, he said that he felt and saw like a shadow on the corner of the bed, sitting down, looking down to the feet. And he thought it was me breastfeeding one of the girls, but he turned and he kind of like put his hand next to me and he felt that I was there. And he looks up and the shadow goes away. But when he's describing it, he's like, to be honest with you, the shadow, the body, like it looked like the picture of Anthony. And I was like, okay. Yeah. And then when the girls, my daughters were 1 or 2, we were getting ready to, and this was in a different house. Every house we gone to, not back then when he had just passed, we always felt him around. We always felt him around. My daughters, we were going to go take a nap and I was like, come on, mommy, let's go. And she's like, bye. And I was like, who are you talking to? And we had a picture of my husband in the living room, in the dining room. And she walks and she says, him, he's right there. And I was like, what?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I think it was because I had to learn to not live, to live without him here. I'm never going to get over it or forget about him. And that's what I was trying to do, which was forget about him or learn to that. But it was actually what I had to learn is learn to live without him here. And once I learned to do that, I gave him to God and I told him, be at peace. And I let him go. I couldn't keep him around anymore. I didn't think it was fair, and I don't feel him anymore.
Oh.
Yeah.
How many years? Go ahead.
6 years.
Like 6 years after he passed, you stopped feeling him around?
Yeah.
Wow.
But it was after the fact that I let him go because I held on and I wasn't ready to let go. Yeah.
But you would so your daughter even seen him. How old was your daughter when she seen him?
Like 1 or 2.
Oh, wow. No, and see, I think that's a really important point because it's hard. Like I think adults, right? It's really hard for adults to understand that, right? Like so many are closed off to the spiritual. But even that when my brother passed away, his daughter, the youngest one, I don't know how old she is now, but I guess she would talk to him, right? Like she would talk to him, and so I think like kids, since they're more open to it, they're more
innocent-minded.
Well, no one's put it in their head that, oh, you can't. See, because that's our natural state of being. Like, we come from, whatever, like the other side. We come here And, you know, like I always say, like, these are just our vehicles. Like when you close your mouth, like you could still hear yourself talking. You could still hear yourself thinking. So this is just the vehicle we're using while we're here. But, you know, all that other stuff, you know, it's like that. Like I have like tons of like out of body experiences. I understand that. I know that when I'm asleep, I'm out. Sometimes
you say that, you play around saying that, but my dad always believed that.
No, I'm not playing.
We dream.
I'm not playing.
No,
I'm
no.
not playing.
He believed that our dreams were our actual spirit going to a different dimension or a different time, or actually out of our body at the same time and meeting other people and doing other stuff, you know? So like my dad always believed, don't sleep under a window. Don't sleep on with the window on the east side in your bed under the window. Like he believed in a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
No, but yeah, no, to clarify, I'm not playing. Like I'm telling you with certainty. Like,
yeah,
you know, I don't, it depends, you know, I'll open up with like, it's kind of like I match your energy. Whenever I'm interviewing someone, it's more like I'm matching your energy. And since you're already talking about all this stuff, then I could talk about this stuff, you know. But for me, like the other day, like maybe a week ago, it was crazy. But there were little hints that it was like I was in the spirit world, because there were 4 people that I didn't even know walking through my house. Like one was like a little black kid with a backpack. Another one, I think she was like, you know, Asian. Then there was some other 2 guys, and I was like, I don't know you, you know, like I don't know who you are. And then my dog's really spiritual. I'm blown away. She goes into the spirit world, and every time I'm feeling something, she barks. Like this, like the little one, I don't know, like I think she came, like, you know, she's a gift, like she's my little whatever, like, you know. Like, I actually, you know, I think about her, like it's funny, like I'll miss like that, like the other dogs I've never felt that, but her, she's like a little spiritual.
What is in the, have you seen the movie Coco?
Yeah, I just watched, that's funny, I just watched it. Oh, did you see the lady passed away?
Which lady?
The old lady. I didn't know that they based it on a real lady, the abuelita, the oldest one.
Oh yeah.
She just passed away. I didn't know. She just passed away. She was 109 years old, but it was based on a real person.
In the movie, you know, what do they call the animals, the spirit animals?
I don't remember in the movie what they call them.
Yeah, but animals are very spiritual. I like the dog right here. She talks to me and she tells me stuff. Oh yeah, she tells me stuff. You laugh, but she tells me stuff.
Hey, if you really legit have that, because dogs, I mean, animals communicate with me in like, I just know what they mean, right? Like the other day, it was like perfect timing. I went through this whole thing. I came with this epiphany, and then I think it was right before I started doing the podcast again, like interviewing people. Right as I pull home, I see like 100 parrots fly over me. I was like counting them, 2, 4, 6, 8. I was like, holy crap, like 100 parrots.
But there's always a lot of parrots in where you live.
No, but I never see like just the timing. It was like exactly the timing, you know, because that's what it is. It's about the timing. Like I explained that to somebody once. It's like that's my favorite way of communication. Even more, I know people like tarot cards. They like this, all the different stuff, because the animals, like, see, with tarot cards, I feel like it could be, you never know who the spirit is. It could be a good spirit.
Yeah.
It could be a mischievous spirit, right? You never know who's on the other side. Like,
I'm not okay with tarot cards so much.
I have no problem with them just because they came to me in a dream. I had no clue what tarot cards were. And they told me who to go to. And when I interviewed her, the one that I interviewed, like they showed me all the stuff about her. And when I went, like I knew, I Googled it, she popped up, and then I listened to the message, and it was exactly what I needed to hear. And I think at the time it's because it was after my brother passed away. I did close off for a bit because, you know, I was grieving and all this stuff. So I was kind of, I guess, upset with the spirit, with different stuff, right? Different emotions.
Yeah.
Like, but anyways, like the animals, because they're animals, they're pure. Animals go off, like they're not trying to lie to you. They don't need to, like, they don't care about your feelings really. Like they do, but not like they don't lie. So when you see like, that's why, see, like even I seen a bear, like, right, for my first time, like a couple, well, I already seen like 3 now, but I had never seen them my whole life, ran into them in person. And I even felt like I could pet it, but I didn't just because people put that in your head. Oh, but the
Yes.
energy, I felt the energy. I knew they weren't going to do me any harm, even though it was in the wild. After I regretted, I was like, damn, I should have pet the bear.
I know.
But it meant a lot for me. Oh man, it was like, they literally came to help me cure my anxiety. And I, it's just too long to go into it, but it was crazy. So when they come to me, it's always timing. That's what I'm saying. The parrots, they came to me like in the perfect timing, right? Like that. Like, oh, like yesterday, right? I ran into like 3 coyotes, which represents change, right? And at the same time, I kept seeing 555. I was driving, there was a car with 555. I think I looked at the clock in the morning, 555. Everything was like 555. Then I run into the 3 coyotes, which represent like, it's hard to explain because there's so many meanings to coyote, but it was like, wow, that's so funny. I ran into 3 at a very weird place where I've never ran into coyotes, and they're just were the 3 that crossed right in front of me, right? So all that to say, I know there's people that actually hear the animals and this and that. So if you really hear the animals, I mean, we could do a whole interview about that, or you could talk about that if you want. Like, if you legit hear their voice, because I know there's people.
I don't hear. It's not so much I hear their voices, but like with this dog, I don't want to say the question I asked her, but I asked her, and she was like, oh, like with sadness, like, her language, her body, her face was like telling me, yeah, bitch, you're right. Yes. What else do you want me to fucking tell you? Like she's telling me like, yes. And she's kind of getting excited and like coming towards me, like give me a hug, like, yes, I'm sorry. Yes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My, like I asked her something and she's like, yeah. She was like, yeah, like sadness, like her emotions. I remember how I could tell you, I could tell how people sometimes feel if they're next to me, they're around me and stuff. I can tell what she was feeling. Every cat that I've ever had that has been my cat, not my daughter's, not anybody else that has been my cat. They follow me all over the house. Wherever I go, they talk to me. They're one with me. I don't know. I've always liked cats. Cats are like the keepers of the underworld. They can see certain stuff,
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So cats and certain dogs. I don't like dogs they're big. I don't like Chihuahua dogs and stuff like that. But I'm not a real dog person. But certain dogs, when I see them, like I could talk to them. I've known this one for a while, and she's like, she likes me. I knew she liked me, but when I asked her, and then I asked her something else, like 2 days later, bitch answered me like, what other clarity do you need me to tell you, bitch? Like, yes.
Yeah. No, yeah, I love animals. But they're my favorite way of communication because it never fails. No matter what, I could be thinking something, and boom, a hawk will come, or the crows, like all the animals. Like it's funny. Like I think about, I don't know if you know what a chinchilla is. Yeah. So I posted it, and I didn't know what I thought it was just like a mouse in the mountains, but it was my first time going to this one mountain that then after I started going all the time. I think it was right when the pandemic started. I found this hiking trail. I was just being adventurous, whatever. And the chinchilla, I ran into it, and it had to do with that, like adventure and this and that. And I was like, what the? And I've never seen it again. That's the only time it popped out. It jumped right in front of me. And I was like, what the hell? Like, I've never seen a mouse do this. It jumped like right in front. I was hiking, and it just like jumped out like, hey. And I was like, what the hell? Like, I'm staring at it. Finally, I take out my phone because it was there for a long time. And I only got a little video. Then it jumped away. And I posted it. And luckily, someone on IG was like, oh, that's not a mouse. That's a chinchilla. Like, what? What the hell? And I looked up spiritual meaning of chinchilla. And it said all that. And it was because I was going like on a new adventure and all that stuff. So it was like, it never fails the timing. So that's why that's my favorite. Aside from the dreams, right? Because in the dreams, everything I get, perfect answers to everything. Oh no, but going back to like, oh yeah, I was talking about the astral traveling, right? Like that's where, I do that. And sometimes I wake up exhausted. So what your dad said, like, how did he just feels that? Because for me, I feel like 100% that's what it is. Like we are living. I did this interview. I don't know if you've seen the interview with Aquarius Maximus. For her, she was talking about it like, was it her? I think it was her interview where she's talking about it like it's a definite thing. Like, yeah, we have lives on the other side.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because when I dream, I wake up really tired.
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't sleep.
Yeah.
I feel really exhausted. And sometimes I would get high and smoke to sleep because my dreams were so like I was still awake. I had no time to actually rest and stuff. So sometimes when I dream, I'll wake up and it's just like, oh, shit. I'm afraid to go back to sleep because I'm gonna dream again and I'm not gonna sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. And your husband, he never visited you in the dreams or nothing like that?
I have a lot of dreams of him where he went actually on a mission and he was never dead. And instead of coming back to me, he goes to his friends and his family and he ignores me. He doesn't want to be with me anymore.
Wow.
I get a
But that
lot
was
of
like
I get that dream a lot. In
Oh,
different
really?
scenarios, yeah, I get that dream a lot. I get that dream a lot. Especially when I'm doing something bad in life. I think it's my subconscious saying, you know, he wouldn't like that. Why the fuck are you doing it? You know what I mean?
And do you
Yeah,
listen
like
to the advice or no?
yes, yes. Because I know he's watching over me, and at the time that he came into my life, I know that if he wouldn't have came into my life, I would have been spiraling downwards in a bad direction. So yeah, I still don't talk to the friends that he didn't want me to talk to. Yeah.
No, and you know, I see, like I understand that now. Like when you go through, you know, the journey, and then you start realizing, like, I mean, no one wants to feel like even that, right? When we lose someone, like when I lost my brother, like, you know, everything, like so many emotions. But now I look at it differently because I understand. I don't like to talk about it because I know it might be too much for some people, right? Like to understand. Like, because I was shown, right? Because I was really, and it was like, you know, whatever. Like some people might call them angels, but to me, I call them like they had to come and like they took me to where he was. See, that's why it's like on the other side, you know, it's like they're living a life. Like it's a whole, well, it's obvious, but it's so obvious. It's like some people really believe that we just die and that's it. Like, it's sad that somehow they condition people because like native people, indigenous people, they always knew that. It's like, you know, shamans, medicine man, like they already walked with like one foot in the spirit world, one foot in the physical world. You know, you just learn to like balance it out, right? So we already had that as like indigenous people. That was normal, right? Even like all around the world, all indigenous people. Somehow they disconnected us to think, I guess maybe to have power, like so the religions, everyone's scared, like, you know, they traumatize you into, you know, you're gonna go to hell, this and that, you know what I mean? So yeah, whatever. Just that stuff. I forgot what my point was. Just that, yeah, like so I was shown like that it was kind of already written, like what was gonna happen. There was nothing I could do to stop. They just had to really show me that there was nothing I could do to stop it. Because I had a premonition about my brother 9 months before it happened. You know what I mean? And then it was like, wait, why did you not tell me right before it happened? Like right before he passed away, why didn't you tell me? Like, so I was really like, you know, I was really mad. Like, you know?
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying because a week before, 2 weeks before Anthony died, he told me, I'm going to go talk to Sergeant blah, 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 to see if I could get out of working guard duty. And I was like, no, I don't want you to leave because you won't be back for like 5 hours. And I blamed it on myself. Like if he would have went and asked if he could have got off, he would have been able to get off. All he had to do is spend that time. And I didn't want to let him go. So I blamed it on me. You know what I mean? So so I kind of felt like shit. If I would have let him, he still would be here. I was stupid. It was my fault. And I blame myself for a very long time.
How did you finally, because that's the heart, like even me, right? I was like, I would have given my life for his in a heartbeat. So even that part, like, you know, you have that, I don't know if you want to call it like a survivor's guilt or what, but it was like, but just for me, it was like, you know, he had a family, he had kids, he had all this stuff. So I was like, in a heartbeat, I would have been like, yeah, take me. You know what I'm saying? It's a no-brainer. But so I was even that pissed off with this, you know, the spirit world. Because I always felt like I did, you know, like even songs, right? Sometimes I felt like songs I wrote was just because they told me to, right? Like I could have made songs about, hey, shake that ass, da, 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 you know, easy. Like that's man, I could have wrote so many songs about, you know, pop that,
Yes.
whatever.
Yes. Yes. We know.
Easy. But I didn't because I knew like the other songs don't make like they don't make the money or they don't this or that. Like, I mean, recently I wrote a song. It was weird. Like I had a song that's super like what you could call low vibrational, right? Like it's a perfect beat for that, just to shake your, you know, whatever. Very like bad words like crazy. It came up, but I didn't even write it. I heard the beat, I made a beat, and then I just started singing. I was like, damn, I was like, I know that would be like a hit in today's world because everyone likes that low vibrational, just, you know what I mean? Mindless kind of like talking, you know, whatever. Like, so even now when I would write songs, I always felt like I was, you know, putting out that because they were telling me. So it's like I always felt throughout life, I was always trying to do what I was being told or guided to do, like positive. So that's why when something like that happened, it was like, you know, not that they owe me anything, but yeah, in a way, I was like, if I'm, you know, obedient and do all these things, and you guys don't even throw me, like, this would have been one thing I would have asked for. Yeah. So I had to be really shown that you were gonna say something though, huh? I think I just kept.
No, I was just gonna agree with you with the fact that like I was into church a lot, and we were gonna get married in church, but when he passed, it was like, wait a minute, I was doing bad, and he was alive, and I was good. Now that I'm doing good, you want to take him from me? Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm doing good, and now you want to kind of punish me? I get what you're feeling, like what you're saying.
Yeah. So did you feel like, oh, did you ever feel like, oh, is this karma for bad stuff I did before, or how did you process that?
I never took it as like I did something bad. I always took it as he got what he wanted. He didn't want to be an old man. He didn't want to be, he thought being 35 was old, and he never wanted to reach the age of 35. He was 23 years old.
When he passed, he was only 23?
Yeah, he was only 23.
Wow.
He had every toy he ever wanted, guns, motorcycle, cars, everything he wanted, he got. Everything he ever wanted, he got, either from his mom, from me, or he got it himself. But there wasn't anything that he wanted that he didn't desire that he already had. His words were, if I die tomorrow, I die a happy, lucky man. I got you, I got my son. I don't know what else I want. You know what I mean? So like, he was happy. His life in his mind was fulfilled. Yeah.
And yeah, see, so for you, you just you kind of learned to deal with all the emotions by yourself, right? Like that's kind of how it went. Because like I said, for me, they had to show me. Like if they hadn't shown me this stuff, then
I actually had a friend that I met that her husband killed her son in a car accident. He didn't have a car seat, and he went straight to the windshield, and his head smashed into the wheelchair.
Wow.
And she's the one that taught me, you're never going to forget him. The hurt will never go away. 30 years from now, the pain will still be the same, like it was the same day. What you need to learn to do is learn to live without him here. When she broke that down to me, I was like, oh, okay. All right. You know, but it was a lot of people that came into my life that helped me, that allowed me to grieve. Yeah. Because I was told that it's enough. That's it. No more. Come on. It's okay. Stop. You need to stop.
Someone actually told you that?
Yeah.
Man, if someone had told me that, I'll punch them. Like, you know, to me, like.
They kind of were telling me, like, you need to stop living in the past, you know, and I kind of understood what they were saying, but it was just like, fuck you, let me cry as much as I want. You know? Yeah.
It was a family member?
It was my mom.
I knew.
I knew that you knew.
Yeah, you know, like you know, because it's funny. That's I know that they mean well. Maybe, you know, they're probably, because it's true, right? Like it's true. Like we're still here. and we got to keep living, right?
Yeah.
But it takes what it takes. You know, I think it took me about 3 years just of like, you know, or like randomly just like breaking down. Like, it's crazy when it hits you, you know, anything. It could be a movie.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'll be watching like a military movie, and obviously, you know, my brother was like, you know, 20 something years in the Marines. So it's like anything military related is going to remind me of, you know, or little things.
I can't watch funerals where they do the 21 gun salute or the I can't watch that. I can't watch that. Like when they have movies and they're burying them and they're folding up the flag and all that shit. Yeah, I remember that. I can't watch that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that doesn't, for some reason, that doesn't,
to me, that was my final, to me, that was my, prior to him being buried and everything, it was like, I felt like he was still around. Like he was still going to come back. When we finally got to the cemetery and the coffin was there and we closed it and everything, it was just like, shit, he's really gone. Like, yeah, this is real. It was like yes, he's really gone. He's really gone.
See, that's because my dad felt that, like him, like when they lowered the casket, I think he broke down too, like at that point, you know. And even that, like I've never really I seen my dad cry, like, I don't know, maybe 2-3 times in my life. But that was, you know, I mean, but that one, obviously, like even me, I think my nephew told me, like, he never seen me cry. So when he seen me cry, like it hit him. Cause my nephew, you know, like damn.
Yeah.
He said he never, and so when he saw me, that he said that's when it hit him, like all the, well, when he seen me and my other brother, you know, like when we broke down.
Yeah.
Like, so the same, like to me, it's like when I see my dad, I was like, oh, like it hits you. But that's, but for me, see, that didn't affect me like that because, like I seen him, like I don't know when's the last time, but he came so many times to me in the dream. Even that, like it was crazy because, you know, like how you mentioned guns. Like after he passed away, you know, he had guns and everything, and I was gonna go get him. I was like, and he came to me in a dream, and he was mad about it. He was mad. He was like, I was like that, like showing him, like, oh, like in the dream, it was like, oh, look, like I got the, like your guns and stuff, and he was upset. He was like shaking his head and all this stuff, and so then I, you know, I knew I wasn't supposed to get him. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't a good thing. So he was always coming to me, and it was crazy because at first it was all like I couldn't hear his voice, but then after I started hearing his voice, so it was like at first it was just more like telepathic. Then after, I don't know, things were just opening up to me. You know, I know we like we made it all like I was gonna ask you all these questions, and then we started talking about, but it's fine. It's fine. You know, I'm sure people could relate to that. You know what I mean? That have lost loved ones and all that. So anything else, like because I'm gonna have to you know, this is the first time I gotta cut it short. But yeah, like any other experiences more recently, or like how like now
recently I know when people are lying. I can tell when people are lying. And I've noticed that people kind of tell on themselves in front of me. You know, they're kind of like start saying something, they're catching themselves with a lie, and it's just like, oh, but this is why, and kind of like explain themselves without me even asking. You know, besides that, sometimes I just have really gut feelings of certain stuff that's going to happen or has happened, and I don't ignore it. I don't ignore it. I listen to it, and most of the time, 99.9% of the time, it's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and that's how my dreams are. Like my dreams, see, like for sure, when people are lying to me, they'll come to me in a dream and this and that. And of course, people don't like that. You know, like, you know what? Yeah, you know, but you know, more than 50% of the time they'll admit it. Actually, like people have admitted some like crazy things, right? But you know, like how you said, 90-something% of the time, like the dreams are accurate. You know what I mean? And how long have you had that? Is that more a recent thing or?
No, I've just barely actually for the last like 5 years, no, 6 years. I think for the last 7 years, I've actually felt it more, where I can tell that people are lying, and it's not so much that I can know where they're lying. I know where they're going with certain conversations, or where they're trying to get with me, or their intentions before they come at me. Or they'll come at me, like, for example, oh, hi, I like your shirt. I really want to take that from you. Like, they're asking me, oh, hi, I like your shirt. Where'd you get it from? This and that. But I really want to steal that from you. I don't know why. There has been a couple times, like 6 years ago, when I would ride my bike in LA, where I would tell my friend, watch, that guy's gonna give me his helmet, or watch, this girl's gonna do this. And it would actually happen. When I told this guy, I told my friends, look, that guy's gonna give me his helmet. How? I was like, I don't know, but that red helmet's gonna be mine. And we were talking to the guy that had the red helmet, and I was like, where'd you get it? And he's like, oh, you like it, you can have it. And I was like, why would you give it to me just like that? And he's like, oh, it's $250. I spent $250. Like, why would you do that? He's like, oh, because I just got a $500 one, and I didn't want to throw it away. I wanted to give it to someone that needed it. And I was like, oh yeah, I don't have a helmet. He's like, yeah, you can have it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like little things like that. Like things like that. Like little premonitions, you could call them, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know what you call them. Well, yeah, it's the same. It's like premonitions when you're awake or when you're asleep, right?
I don't know. I don't want to say premonitions. More like, I want this to happen. I'm gonna see this happen because I already foresee it, so it's gonna happen.
So you feel like you manifested. See, that's a big thing. Oh man, because that's a whole conversation. Because sometimes I don't know if I manifested it or if it was a premonition. Because the same, I'll say, like, for example, I always used to, because it's very spiritual, to be finding feathers. That's how they always used to communicate with me too, right? I'll find feathers and stuff. So one day there was a place I would always go pray in the hills, sit down, sometimes just relax. And one day I was like, wow, all this time I've came here, I've never found a feather here, nothing. Then all of a sudden I turn and there's like 2 wings, like whole wings of like owls, right? And owls are really important to me. Like, yeah. So some people know they don't like the owl, but the owl is very like sacred to me, right? Like, it's one of my spirit animals that will come teach me stuff in the dreams and all that stuff. So it was like crazy.
Owls remind me of you.
What?
Owls remind me of you.
Why?
Because you told me about them years ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. So that, it's like, did I have a premonition that something put in my head and that's why it happened, or did I manifest it? Oh, I thought about it and boom. Oh, you want a feather? Here's 2 whole wings. Like, they just gave them to me. See, so I don't know. But for you, you feel like you're manifesting it?
I have a thought, and it's just like, yep, let's run with it. See what happens. You know what I mean? I was at work, and I was sitting down in my food truck, and I was thinking, damn, my manager's going to come in right now, and she's going to show me how to do the register. I really need to learn the register. Okay. So she comes in and she's like, I'm not going to stay with you today. I'll teach you how to do the register tomorrow. And I was like, okay. And I turned around and I was like, okay. So she turns around. She's like, no, we're going to have to do the register today. I think we should just do the register today. And I was just like, okay. But it was just like something that popped in my head. Like, I want to turn on the TV. Yeah, I want to turn on the TV. And somebody comes and turns the TV on. Like, it's a thought, but I want it to happen. So I think about it so hard where it starts happening.
Yeah, no. That's
yeah.
I would love to ask, because I wouldn't know which one but I'm sure someone, I mean, have you ever looked into exactly what is that? Like, like that, like, is it manifesting? Is it, because it sounds like you have that gift pretty strong, right? Like, whether it's the premonition or you're manifesting it. So it's pretty interesting. Like,
well, see, the funny thing with me is that my dad has never called me a princess. I've always been my dad's reina. I've always been the queen. And queens always get what they want. I'm spoiled as fuck. I'm going to admit it from day one. I always get what I want one way or another. If you don't get it for me, my mom doesn't get it for me because I'm spoiled. Like, I'm going to get it one way or another, but it's going to happen. Whatever I want, it's going to happen. I'm going to get. I've already have that in the back of my mind. And
So
I
probably
have
helps.
that strong feeling like, yep, I want that. It's going to happen. Whether it's going to happen right now or tomorrow or 5 days, it's going to happen. That's how I feel. And I don't know if it's just that energy that I have, like, yep, it's going to happen because I say it's going to happen. That it makes it happen, and it powers that manifesting. Yeah. So
no, I believe that. That's good. Then your dad did a good job, like condition, like brainwashing you to like, because
he brainwashed me a lot. He told me that you could do anything that a man can do, but better because you're a little tinier and you're a woman. That's what my dad taught me.
That's good that your dad. I mean, shoot, like if I had a daughter, I would want to do the same thing, you know. Well, like my niece. My niece, I always treated her very, like I would take her hiking to the mountains, right? And she was little, and like I didn't care. I didn't treat her like, oh, little, like, nah. She like running to catch up. But you know, I saw like she grew up with a strong character. Like she has a strong attitude, right? Like she has a really strong attitude. I think, you know, it's good though, right? That way, I mean, of course, yeah, she doesn't. I mean, but that would only be bad maybe for a guy that wants like, oh, I want her to be feminine, and then she's like more because
I'm a tomboy. I'm a big tomboy, but when it's time to become feminine, yes, my mom taught me.
Oh, okay. Oh, so they both you know, you got that's good. See, but that's how it should be. Like with parents raising children, you know, obviously one teaches you one thing, the other teaches you one. You know what I mean? Like, so that's good. That's good. That's good. Well, I'm gonna have to cut it because I gotta go. But yeah, no, I wish we could keep talking because there's so much more we could talk about. But see, I don't like cutting it short. That's why. But I do have to go. So yeah, but I'd love to have you on again. You know, we could do it again and talk about more stuff. Because I really wanted to know more, like currently, like all the things you're experiencing, aside from like how you said the manifesting. You never get visions of like maybe like something crazy, like see, like for example, like the pandemic. Before it happened, I was getting all the signs something was coming. Like you never get nothing like that, like some.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I would when I was little, so I don't watch the news and I don't like to watch the news. And now it scares me and I get terrified because sometimes it's like, what if I start thinking that? Is that going to happen?
Yeah.
So I try not to. Yeah.
No, 100%.
So I don't like watching the news. I hate watching politics. I'm not into that stuff. And it's just like, it brings me down and I don't like that energy.
No,
like I know there's things that we're supposed to know out there in the world that's going on, but man, fuck that. I have enough in my life right now.
Yeah. Sometimes, you got to disconnect from. No, but I agree 100%. Like I could relate 100% to what you said, and that makes sense. So better don't watch none of that stuff. So okay. Well, on that note, I'll end it. It was an honor having you on here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. No problem.
Thank you for being open. I know some things are hard to talk about. And I really appreciate you being open about it. So thank you. And we'll do this again.
All right, for sure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, sometimes you're just feeling it, you know what I'm saying? You're just feeling it. And I want to feel this way forever.